Welcome to a journey into the past, to a decade defined by global conflict and survival, the 1940s. An era when the world was held in the vice grip of World War II, a time of upheaval where the daily rhythm of life was disrupted not just by the boom of distant artillery but by the stark reality of survival on the home front. The 1940s, a decade that still echoes in our collective consciousness, was a time of great turmoil. Picture this: cities transformed into battlegrounds, economies in freefall, and an undercurrent of uncertainty running through every home. The war wasn't just fought on distant shores, it was fought in the hearts and minds of the people back home. This was a time when the world was divided, not just by borders on a map, but by ideologies and the struggle for power. From the bustling streets of New York to the quaint English countryside, life was dictated by the rhythm of war. Every aspect of daily existence was colored by the conflict. Food was rationed, blackout curtains hung in every window, and the air was filled with the constant hum of radio broadcasts relaying the latest news from the front lines. But it wasn't just the war that made the 1940s a time of great turmoil. The socio-economic impacts were far-reaching and profound. Economies were strained to their limits, with resources redirected towards the war effort. Families had to make do with less, as goods that were once taken for granted became scarce commodities. The absence of family members sent off to fight left a void that was hard to fill. Yet, amidst this hardship, there was resilience. People found ways to adapt, to survive, not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually too. They discovered strength they never knew they had, and in the process, redefined the concept of survival. This wasn't just about getting by, it was about maintaining a semblance of normalcy, of humanity, in a world turned upside down. In the face of immense challenges, survival became the norm, and resilience the order of the day. As we delve deeper into this era, let's remember that these aren't just stories from the past, they're lessons for the future, lessons that could be the key to our survival in the face of a new kind of turmoil. In this era of scarcity, rationing became a way of life. As resources thinned and demand soared, the world turned to a system of allowances, a system that would challenge the creativity and resilience of those on the home front. Picture this: you're handed a ration book filled with stamps, each one representing a portion of your family's weekly allowance for goods like food, fuel, and clothing. It's not much, but it's what you have. How would you make the most of it? The answer lies in the spirit of resourcefulness that defined this decade. Families became masters of stretching their allowances, transforming scant ingredients into hearty meals. They learned how to make a pound of butter last a week, how to turn a few ounces of meat into a nourishing stew, and how to satisfy a sweet tooth with a fraction of the sugar. But it wasn't just about food. Fuel was rationed too, and families found innovative ways to keep warm. They layered clothing, huddled together for warmth, and learned to maximize the heat from a single log. And when it came to clothing, make do and mend became the mantra. A worn-out dress was never discarded. Instead, it was repurposed, mended, or handed down, ensuring that nothing went to waste. In a world where consumer culture encourages us to buy more and discard more, there's a profound lesson in these wartime experiences. It's a reminder of the potential that lies in the things we already have, and the power of creativity in extending their life and value. In the face of scarcity, a new kind of wealth emerged, one based on ingenuity and adaptability. This was a time when people didn't just manage their resources, they maximized them. They made the most of what they had, and in doing so they discovered a resilience they never knew they possessed. Rationing was more than just a policy, it was a testament to human adaptability and resourcefulness. It was a lesson in making the most of what you have. A lesson that is as relevant today as it was in the 1940s. When food became scarce, the solution was often found in one's backyard. During the 40s, victory gardens sprouted in homes across the nation. These gardens, cultivated in private yards and public parks, weren't just about growing tomatoes and turnips. They were a response to wartime rationing, a way to supplement the family larder during a period of scarcity. But the victory garden was more than a practical solution. It was a symbol. It was a statement that every citizen, no matter their age or occupation, could contribute to the war effort in their own soil. These gardens were a testament to self-reliance and resilience, qualities that are as important today as they were then. In our current times, where the stability of food supply chains can be a cause for concern, The concept of a victory garden can offer more than just fresh produce. Victory gardens were not just a source of sustenance, but also a symbol of defiance and hope. Survival in the 1940s was a community affair. With the world at war and resources strained, it was the collective effort of communities that ensured daily life could go on. The strength of humanity came to the fore as neighbors became lifelines and shared resources became a lifeline for survival. Communities had to think on their feet, strategizing ways to ensure everyone had access to the essentials. Everything from food to firewood was rationed and shared, with each family contributing what they could to the common pool. It was a time when mine became ours, as the thought of hoarding was replaced with the spirit of sharing. Childcare, too, was a shared responsibility. With many men away at war and women stepping into roles left vacant, the community stepped in to help. Neighbors, friends, and relatives took turns watching over the children, ensuring they were fed, educated, and most importantly, safe. This way, no child was left unattended, and every parent could contribute to the war effort with peace of mind. But survival wasn't just about resource management, it was also about being prepared for emergencies. Air raids were a grim reality, and communities had to be ready to respond at a moment's notice. Emergency plans were put into place with clear roles assigned to each member of the community. From the local air raid warden to the volunteer firefighters, everyone had a part to play. These emergency plans were more than just a response protocol, they were a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. They showed that even in the face of great adversity, communities could come together, strategize, and take action. The strength of a community was tested during these times, and the lessons learned still resonate today. In a world where resources are once again under strain, we can look back to the 1940s for inspiration. By sharing resources, caring for each other, and preparing for emergencies as a community, we can not only survive but thrive, just as they did on the home front during World War II. In times of scarcity, the ability to repair, repurpose, and create became essential. The 1940s were marked by a severe lack of consumer goods. With factories focused on producing war materials, the home front was left to make do with what they had. This wasn't a time for disposability, it was a time for durability, for creativity, and for resilience. The simple act of mending became a daily ritual. A torn shirt, a broken tool, a damaged toy, these weren't discarded, they were repaired. Sewing, knitting, and other crafting skills were not just hobbies, but lifelines. These skills allowed families to extend the life of their belongings, to keep warm, to cook meals, and to maintain a semblance of normal life amidst the chaos. But the art of making do wasn't confined to mending. It extended into creating solutions for bigger problems. The threat of air raids was ever present, and civilians had to be prepared. They couldn't rely on the government to provide shelters for everyone, so they took matters into their own hands. Backyards became sites of survival, as families built their own air raid shelters. These were often simple structures, dug into the ground and reinforced with anything that could be found, from sandbags to wooden planks. Alongside these shelters, blackout materials became essential. With the risk of enemy planes spotting light from homes, blackout curtains were used to shroud houses in darkness. Again, this was a DIY task. Families used heavy fabric, paint, even layers of newspaper to block out the light. It was a practical yet significant way to contribute to the war effort. A testament to the power of individual actions in the face of collective danger. Self-reliance was not just a virtue, but a necessity during these times. The lessons from the 1940s remind us that in the face of adversity, our ability to adapt, to create, and to persevere is our greatest asset. The art of making do isn't just about survival, it's about transforming crisis into opportunity, about finding strength in scarcity, and about discovering the power of our own resourcefulness. With fuel heavily rationed, households had to get creative with energy conservation and alternative sources. Picture this, the year is 1940, and the world is at war. Fuel, once plentiful, is now a scarce resource, rationed out in meager amounts. This crisis demanded creativity, innovation, and a whole lot of resourcefulness. As the war waged on, ordinary folks began to discover new ways to manage their heating and lighting efficiently. They used blackout curtains to keep the warmth in and the cold out, while also serving the dual purpose of obscuring any interior light that could make them a target during air raids. They maximized daylight usage, adjusting their routines to align with the sun's cycle, thus reducing the need for artificial lighting. But the real marvels of the era were the innovative alternative energy sources developed during the war. One such invention was the gasifier, a device that could power vehicles using wood chips instead of gasoline. Imagine that, your car running on pieces of wood. It might sound like something out of a science fiction novel, but it was a reality for those living through the 1940s. Households also turned to other forms of alternative energy. Wind power, for example, was harnessed using homemade windmills, providing a sustainable and renewable source of energy. Biomass, too, became a key player, with people finding ways to convert organic waste into usable energy. In the face of adversity, these energy conservation techniques and innovative solutions became lifelines. They helped families to keep their homes warm, their lights on, and their vehicles moving. More than that, they fostered a spirit of self-reliance and resilience, proving that even in the direst of circumstances it's possible to adapt and overcome. These energy solutions from the 1940s still hold relevance today as we grapple with our own energy challenges. As we face our own crises, from climate change to dwindling resources, we can look to the past for inspiration. The creativity and resourcefulness shown by those living through the 1940s serves as a powerful reminder that when the going gets tough, the tough get innovative. The 1940s were a time of great adversity but also of great innovation and resilience. As we've journeyed through this era, we've uncovered survival strategies that stand the test of time. We've learned about making the most of what we have through rationing and resource management. We've dug into the power of self-sustenance with victory gardens, a testament to the strength of self-reliance and the soil beneath our feet. We've seen how shared resources and emergency plans can bind a community, fostering cooperation and resilience. We've mastered the art of making do, from mending clothes to repairing tools, reminding us that our skills are our greatest assets. We've powered through the crisis, exploring alternative energy sources and efficient fuel use and learning to adapt in the face of scarcity. The strategies developed during the 1940s offer invaluable lessons for dealing with any large-scale emergency today. Remember, we're not just surviving, we're learning to thrive in the face of adversity.